Bobby dropped his 90 off yesterday, and we were going to do some rust proofing on it. And it looks like I'm going to have to power wash it off. Great job, eh? It's the only way to do it, but now's a nice time because it's not too hot and humid. But the other thing, it's going to dry out, and that's what you shouldn't do. Put rust proofing on top of a damp car or a damp metal. It ain't going to work. So the idea is I'm going to power wash it now, get as much dirt and grubbiness off, and it should work. I have a variety of lances, some straight. I've got a really narrow one I'll show you when we do inside the engine compartment, but here goes nothing. I'm not even going to put a hat on because I know I'm going to get soaking wet. Well, that's part of that miserable job done at the front. Just got to lift it up at the back. There is some really nasty thick grease that's got mud into it on the prop shaft. I can't get that off. Even the steam cleaner won't shift it. But anyway, let's see what it's like after lunch. Right, now we're going to do the back end. It's not too bad actually. A lot of dirt, but a lot of like baked on grease and mud, which I can't get off. It's quite surprising actually when it got into Canada that they didn't have a go at it for having been mud on it, but hey ho. Yeah, a bit difficult to lift up at the back because it's got a European style 2-inch ball on there, or 50mm. So I have to do it with the door open, so I have to be careful now. And also when you're doing this, or if you ever decide to do it, always do it over a puddle. That's the lowest point in the yard, so you get absolutely soaking wet. It's crucial that you get wetter than the vehicle. Now it's nice working with the steam cleaner because at least when you get splashed back it's warm water. But it is a remarkably good vehicle. But the plan is this, to wash it off, and we're going to let it dry thoroughly for 3 or 4 days until he gets the parts, because we have to do some work on the brake pads at the front and a few little miscellaneous bits and bobs and give it a bit of a service. I've got to do the timing belt, so it's good to do all those jobs before you put the wax on. We're going to put some black wax on this, and we're going to use clear wax inside the doors. So it's going to be good, but that's really the last job. But the first job is getting it clean. Anyway, without more further ado, let's get on with it. Now the stands, as you can see, are under the mountings. The weight's on them, and I keep the weight on the strap with the forklift and on 2 stands. Don't ever do this, just lift it up with the forklift. It's too risky. Right, let's get on with that then. It seems the rear of the vehicle really traps a lot of mud, so we're going to concentrate doing the rear cross member, and there's some plastic covers for the light access under the back. Pathetic plastic covers. We lift them up and we put the lance under there and we give them a good old washing out. This is going to be spotless, and you can probably see there's like some uprights on the side of the bulkhead. they fill up with mud, and as well underneath the floor. What's this coming here? Helicopter. Under the floor there's some body supports. We're washing those out as well. Anyway, I might as well leave the video running. Well, I think that's the best we can do. There's some burnt on mud and some old underseal or something like that that's on there. It's a bugger to get off, but if it doesn't shift with that machine there, which is about 2000 psi, well, I don't think it's going to shift at all. So what we're going to do is let it down, let it dry out, and we'll see what happens. I know it needs new tyres. The tyres are retreads. They're not very happy at that. But apart from that, we'll let it dry, and the next step is we're going to spray on some Corroseal on the chassis to stop it going rusty, you know, to convert the rust. And that'll be the next job. So this is the next morning. It's Friday the 13th, unlucky for some. Well, you can see all the mud's gone. We've got a little rattly bolt here, got to fix. That's nothing. Now, it's very damp this morning, you know, it's the high humidity. We'll come back to this in a minute, well, a couple of hours later when the sun gets around here, and we'll look at the difference in the rust here, because this rust isn't too bad. It's kind of good, it's not flaky rust, but it wants treating. We're going to treat it with Corrostop, same with all these brackets here, but I want it dry, you know, the humidity out of it, because then I'll blow it around with the air gun to make sure that there's no mud in these little sockets here. There's a little bit up there, look, but you can see it's still wet. So when it dries out, we'll have a go. But it looks, yeah, you can see how it's dried out with the mud here. So we'll just blow that off with an airline, and then we'll apply. If it's on paint like this, it's good. We don't have to worry with Corrostop. But anything that's rusty, we'll treat it before we do it, because it's a nice car. It really is a good one. I've got the hose to replace here, so I'll Corrostop that. You can see where it's drying out there and it's wet here. Yeah, not too bad. A nice chassis. This is the sort of things you want to buy, not them bloody old rust buckets. You know, it's a really nice one. Wants saving. So like I say, we blew out all these holes up here. They're all blown out. All these are blown out, washed under here. You know, there'll be a little bit of residual dust. That's not too bad. Like I say, we get the airline. You see here, look. See, it just comes off with your fingers. That's all right. That's acceptable. You could even put wax on top of that, but it's best to have it all off. Some leg it on, some leg it off. I'll have it off. And then, yeah, that's going to be a nice project. When you're spraying this Corrostop, I'm just using an old, you know, squirty thing here, but this is coming out a bit thick. You take your airline and just spread it around a bit. It's worked well, you know, like, I don't know if you can see it because I'm outside, I can't see my screen very well. Come around here a bit. So like I say, we'll we'll spray a bit on, and then you can push it into all those little nooks and crannies, like behind the shock mounts and things like that. They're all over the place. Not better than a brush. So now we'll let that dry. I'm thinking the only jobs I've got to do on this is the back brake, so I might just shoot this with black wax whilst it's still up in the air, but it's got to dry now. But I can see it here. It is turning the rust black. Well, look at that. Look how that stuff, that Corroseal, has transformed that chassis. So just to get a jump on this, because I want to do the front, I'm going to spray it with some black wax, all of it, inside, everywhere, and then we can drop this back down.